What would you do if a stranger showed up at your door, claimed your husband was the father of her unborn child, and then proved she knew things only he could have told her? It started on a quiet Tuesday morning. I had just sat down with a cup of tea when the doorbell rang. My husband, Mark, was at work. A woman stood on the porch with her hands tucked under her coat. She looked pale and nervous. When she asked for Mark, I told her I was his wife and asked how I could help. She lowered her gaze. I shouldn't have come, she said, but I need to talk to him. Her name was Iris. I didn't recognize it, although something about her seemed familiar in a way I couldn't place. She asked to step inside because it was cold, so I let her. Once she sat down, she set a small envelope on the table between us. Before I could ask about it, she told me she was pregnant. Then, in a soft voice, she said the child was Mark's. I stared at her. I asked why she believed that, and she hesitated before giving an answer that made my skin prickle. Because he told me things about you no one else would know. I called Mark, but he didn't pick up. I sent him a message saying a woman named Iris was at the house and needed to talk. Iris took out an ultrasound photo from the envelope. Attached to it was a note in Mark's handwriting from years earlier. I recognized his script. It was dated 3 summers before we married. Iris explained she and Mark had dated briefly, and when she tried to end things, he begged her to stay. She left the state instead, cutting off contact. She said she returned last month for a work conference, ran into Mark by chance, and they talked for a few hours at the hotel bar. She claimed nothing happened then, but she saw him again 2 nights later. That was the night she believed she conceived. I asked why she waited weeks to approach him. She said she wanted to be certain, and she didn't want to cause trouble unless she had to. When I pressed further, she said she had tried calling him after she found out, but he never responded. I drove to Mark's office. His supervisor told me he left early after receiving a message. When I returned home, Iris was gone. Mark's car was gone too. I called his brother Liam, who said Mark had shown up at his place late the previous night, upset and asking to stay a few days. I drove to Liam's apartment. Mark's car was in the lot. Liam tried to claim Mark wasn't there, but his guilt showed. He eventually admitted that Mark had left again that morning with a suitcase, saying he needed to clear his head. I waited at home that night until nearly 2 in the morning. No call. The next day, I went to the police station. The officer listened and told me that my husband avoiding me wasn't a crime and didn't count as a missing person case. 2 days later, Mark finally called. He asked to meet at the old greenhouse outside town. When I arrived, he was sitting on a bench surrounded by empty flower beds. I asked where Iris was. He said she was staying at a motel and that he wanted to talk before meeting her again. I asked why he had told her things about me. He said the hotel bar meeting felt familiar and strange, and he talked more than he should have. I asked if anything else happened. He hesitated. Then he said it had been one night, and he regretted every part of it. On Saturday, I insisted we go to Iris's motel together. Mark waited outside while I knocked. Iris looked startled to see me instead of Mark, but she let me in. Inside, the room was cluttered with open notebooks, prenatal pamphlets, and a half-packed suitcase. I noticed several pregnancy tests scattered on the bathroom counter. I asked why she needed so many if she already had medical confirmation. She said she kept second-guessing herself because the situation felt unreal. When I asked her what she wanted from us, she said she didn't want to break up a marriage. She planned to return to Colorado for a job transfer and would raise the baby alone if needed. She only wanted him to know the truth. On Monday, the 3 of us met with an attorney to settle every detail. Iris signed a statement saying she did not want child support or involvement. She provided medical records and her relocation paperwork. When she stood to leave, she said she never would have approached him if she had known he was married. That evening, Mark tried to apologize at home. He said he would do anything to repair our marriage. I set a folder on the table. Inside were divorce documents. You already made your choice long before she showed up at our door.